Really wonderful to see everybody this morning. Thank you for taking the time to join us. My name is Yvette Monroe, and as O'Shea mentioned, I am the Assistant Vice Provost Student Success, which is quite a mouthful, but it really is a role that takes into account the various supports and services and programs that we have to support students once they've made the decision to join the York community and the York family, and we are here to support their success throughout their time at York at university. I am also very much, when I look across the faces of the Zoom, some of the students who have joined us, some of their family members, and those in their lives, in their community who support them along this journey, I am really much reflecting on my own experience. Exactly a year ago, my youngest daughter went off to university, so this is very close and dear to my own heart, and my son graduated not that long ago, so I have a bit of a parent lens into that. And I do want to acknowledge, first of all, for everybody here, whether you're joining us as a student or a family or community member who's supporting one of our students that's considering or coming to York, what the last few years has been like, and some of the feelings and nervousness and excitement that you have in terms of what it means to pursue university studies, as we are much more in person than we have been in the last couple of years, what that means over the pandemic, and what that has been. You may have questions about your own learning, your own preparedness, your readiness to be in a big environment, but you also may have excitement around that. So we have all of those same feelings too here at York, and we've had a number of programs and services here designed in order to work closely with our student community to facilitate that smooth transition. Some of the orientation sessions that we're offering and the tours that we're offering throughout the summer, in preparation for that, we have a number of courses and modules that are available for students if they want to freshen up on some academic skills. But also we want to, facilitate ways for students to connect with other students. They don't always want to hear from someone like me. We have a number of student clubs and organizations that are here for students, and certainly in orientation in the first couple of weeks of school, the campus comes to life. It comes to life, and you will see, what I love about York, which is our students, our faculty members, our staff, everybody here to welcome our students onto campus, both our campuses, as well as Markham as well. As they join the university as well. The first year is really critical for student success, and I encourage everybody to participate in the orientation activities that are both social and fun, but also the ones that are academic, that are offered by programs and faculties. It's a good way to immerse yourself, but also to make connections with your educators, the staff that work in those areas, and then other students, and build those connections early on. We have students from all walks of life that come to York. We have some of the top students coming from all over the country to join us. We have students that are coming from all over the world. And then we have students that are also, have their own unique challenges. And we know that they have all of the skills ready to be successful, but may need a little bit of support, whether that is counseling support or learning skills or some accommodations, and certainly financial support. And this is one of the reasons why we're having the session here today with my very experienced colleague, Karen Warner, who will take us through all the things that we need to consider when students are thinking about how to finance their education. So I want to make sure that you as a student or of a family member that is supporting a student knows that we are here to help. We're here to answer questions. We are actually here 24/7. We have a number of apps and tools that allow you to engage with us at all hours of the day, as well as in person when we are open during regular business hours, to answer questions that you may have and to make this an exciting journey for you. I am a proud York alum. I was a Scarborough first generation kid who took a bus all the way to Scarborough, from Scarborough to here to do my undergrad. And I went on to, a different career, and then came back to York later in my career into this role as well. And I have lifelong friends that I've made through my time at York, and very proud of the range of services and supports we have here for our students. So I won't take up too much time. I'll give lots of time for my colleagues who are here to present great information for you as you embark on this very exciting time in your family's life and in your life as well. And thank you for considering York.
Thank you, Yvette. And as Yvette was mentioning, we have Karen Warner joining us from Student Financial Services, the manager of scholarships and bursaries, who will be our guest speaker today and kind of walking us through and guiding us through a presentation of all the supports available and how we can create pathways to success for all incoming students. So I'll pass it off to Karen. Thank you all for being here.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday before a long weekend. There's not a better Friday than that. I'm happy to be able to join you today. We know that finances are one of the biggest stressors for our students and for families, and there's a lot of questions around that. So hopefully today's session will help to give you some information or some helpful tools for you to take away. As you have questions throughout the presentation, we encourage you to put those in the chat at the end of the slide deck. We will have a Q&A period where we'll go through whatever's in the chat and address those questions and give you an opportunity to add anything else that you may want to ask at that time. So I'm going to go ahead and start my slide deck here. There we go. So first I'm going to start about my area of specialty, which is scholarships, awards, and bursaries. So what does that look like at York? If you have received an entrance award, when and how will you receive those funds is what we're going to address in this section. So for our domestic high school students, when you received your offer of admission, you likely, if you have an average of 80% or higher, had a scholarship value indicated in that offer letter. This is just a reminder that that scholarship value is based on your final average. So when those grades come into us in June or July, we will be reassessing the scholarship amounts. So it could go up or down or may stay right where it is. It's renewable across the board. So wherever you're coming in is when you come to York, if you're able to achieve an A average and take a minimum of 24 credits each year, the scholarship will be automatically renewed. So you don't need to reach out to us. It's an automatic exercise for us. We'll reassess you each summer. And if you have met the threshold, the scholarship will be automatically applied to your account in the fall. And just a reminder also, we want our students while they're here to take advantage of our many study abroad learning opportunities. So this particular scholarship, if you're a recipient of this and you elect to go on an exchange program in years 2, 3, or 4, we're also going to be giving you a $1,500 travel abroad award to help you with the costs associated with that. We have many other award opportunities that are available for students through the entrance awards application, which closed on April 1st. So many of those scholarship offers have already gone out. So if you have received another award in addition to the automatic entrance, congratulations, and you will see those funds applied to your account in August. But there is another opportunity for you to apply for awards. We do open a second awards application. It will open on August the 1st. And have a deadline date of September the 15th. So we will do an email blast in August to let all students who are registered in courses know that their application is available. And we do encourage you to go ahead and do that. This application is currently called the Student Financial Profile, but it will likely change the name in the coming years. But it's always available to students. Every year, there is an opportunity for you to apply for additional aid through scholarships and awards. We also have our undergraduate bursary program, which is a more financial needs-based program. And we have our work study program, which I'll talk to you a bit further about later in the slides. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to get funding. All of those programs sit in our student financial profile for you to apply for. So when you go log into it in August, you can select all 3 programs to optimize your options and to optimize your ability to receive funding from the university. In terms of the awards themselves, once we do, you would have been notified typically in writing or by email if you have received an award. Any funding that you're receiving from York University gets applied directly to your student account. So you must be enrolled in courses, and for first year students in particular, you have to have paid your registration deposit, so $300 deposit, for those funds to be applied to your account. And as I mentioned earlier, we do apply the funds in August. So they will be reflected on your August invoice and be there before the September 10th due date. In the event that you received an award that exceeds what your tuition amount is, and it creates a credit on your account, you can get a refund for that additional surplus funding. So we do ask students, as one of the things that you do when you're setting up and getting prepared for your studies, to provide us with your banking information. If you go to our refunds page, there is a link where you can provide your banking information. And that just allows us that if we do at some point need to generate funding to you or release anything to you, we can directly deposit that into your bank account. So we know many students at York are also receiving funding through OSAP. And so this is a disclaimer. If you're receiving any type of funding from York University, do not report it on your OSAP application, because York is going to report the funding on your behalf. And we want to ensure that you're not over reporting any funding that you're receiving. So if you're doing your OSAP application, I'm going to talk about OSAP in just a minute. There will be a question around scholarships and awards. If you have any funding that you're receiving outside of York University, of course, you will need to report that, but nothing that is being given to you by the university needs to be reported on your OSAP application. So moving into OSAP, this is, of course, the largest source of funding for students in the province of Ontario. And if we have any students joining us from other provinces, you would be applying for your aid through your home province. If you visit our financial aid page, there's a link there to all of the other provincial aid sites, so you can get information about how to apply through your home province. OSAP is specifically for Ontario students. So it is a combination of aid from both the federal and provincial government, Canada and Ontario. And what students don't always know is that it's a mixture of aid, both loan, yes, but also grants, which is, of course, non-repayable. And we encourage all students who are in financial need to apply for OSAP to see what kind of funding they can get through the government first. So you must be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or protected person. You must be a resident of Ontario and a full-time student. And of course, you must demonstrate financial need. So as incoming students, I'm assuming most of you are coming out of high school. The government does consider you to be a dependent of your parents until you've been out of high school for 6 years. So parental information will be required on the OSAP application. I'm happy to let you know the OSAP application is actually open now. It opened just this week. So if you visit the OSAP site, you will be able to start an application right now. One of the mistakes that students make is that they think they have to have already accepted an offer of admission at an institution before they can apply, and that is not the case. So if you have narrowed it down, if you know for sure you're coming to York or another institution, now's the time to do your OSAP application. If you've narrowed it down to 1 or 2 possible schools, you can actually submit multiple OSAP applications to get the ball rolling. And we encourage you to do that because it can be a lengthy process. On average, it's about 6 to 8 weeks for an OSAP application to process. So if you get the ball rolling now, you'll get an assessment early, and that'll give you some ease in knowing what type of funding you're going to get to start your studies with. So again, your parental information will be required, and they will have to report their income as they reported on their 2022 income tax. So that they will have to have filed their income taxes to do the application. You do everything online, and once you have completed the application and submitted it, it is going to do 2 things. It's going to provide you with a preliminary estimate of what type of funding you may be eligible for, but it will also provide you with a list of supporting documents that you need to provide. So every student is going to fill out this MSFAA, Master's Student Financial Assistance Agreement, which is basically you committing to repay any loan amounts that you take. And every student is going to fill out these consents and declarations pages. That will be for both yourself and your parents. And that allows the government to verify any information that you've put on the application. And then it may ask you for additional supporting document. For example, if you're a permanent resident, it may ask you for a copy of your PR card or PR document. All of these documents you can scan and upload directly back into the OSAP portal for processing. And at that point, once you've submitted all your documents, it's just a waiting game for those documents to be processed. Once your file is finished, you will typically receive an email from the ministry telling you to go to your OSAP portal to check your status. You will see something called a notice of assessment, and that notice of assessment will tell you what you've been assessed for, your total funding, and give you a breakdown of that funding. So how much of it is federal and provincial, and how much of it is loans, and how much is grants. From that point, again, there's nothing else that's required of you other than to wait. About 10 days before the start of school, York will confirm that you are in fact a student at York, that you're taking the program you said you were going to take, that you're in the course load you said you were going to take, and that will trigger the release of the funding. So one of the things you will notice when you're doing the OSAP application is that it will ask you for banking information. That is because when you're being assessed for OSAP, it is not just considering your direct educational costs or your tuition and books. It's also calculating a computer allowance for first-year students. It's looking at your travel costs. So what does it cost you to get to school and home? And it's also giving you a living allowance. So even if you're living at home with your parents, it will assess you for a living allowance. So it is possible that your OSAP entitlement may exceed what your tuition amount is. When we notify the National Student Loan Center or confirm that you're a student at York, we will at that time tell them also how much you owe to York. And so a portion of your aid will automatically come to York University and be applied to your student account. And if there's an excess funds, that will go to your bank account. And again, that is for you to use for your travel, for your books, etc. So one thing that is really important that students don't always know about OSAP is that you can elect to take just the grant portion of your funding. So we know, of course, you're young and you're thinking about the debt that comes with taking OSAP funding. And it's a wonderful option for students to be able to just take the grant portion of their aid to use to help them with their study, to pay for their schooling. So I wanted you to be aware of that. And the other thing that the ministry changed a number of years ago, which is a great benefit to students, is that you're now no longer required to report any RESP. So if you have a registered educational savings plan, or if you're an Indigenous learner and you have any kind of funding coming from your band, you're not required to report that on your OSAP application. So it has no bearing on your assessment. So that's a great win for students across the province. In addition, we know that many students are going to be working while they're in school. The government actually allows you to earn just over $11,000, so $5,600 per term, without it having any impact on your OSAP entitlement. So that's another great advantage to students. You can work and not be concerned that it's going to impact your financial aid. In terms of the funding itself, it does get released in 2 installments. So it's really key and important that students are budgeting and managing the funds appropriately. So the government, for some reason, releases the loans in 2 installments, 60% in the fall and 40% in the winter. And the grants, they release 50% and 50%. So what inevitably happens is, as we get into our winter term, we're getting towards the end of our academic year, students start running low on funds because they've received a lower portion of their funding in the winter term. So again, it's really important as you're mapping out your costs for the study period that you're budgeting accordingly to ensure that those funds are going to last you for the duration of the study period. Okay, so I'm going to move into work study because we talked a bit about working and that we know that many students, again, are working. I, like Yvette, I'm a York alumni, and I started my working at York University as a student under the work study program. So we have many wonderful opportunities for students to work at York University in a variety of positions. We have 3 programs under our work study portfolio. One is RAY, which is research at York, so you can work alongside a full-time faculty member and gain valuable research experience. We have our LEAP program, leadership engagement and ambassadorship. So a lot of the students that you will encounter over the summer as you go through YouStart or you attend any of our sessions are our student leaders and are probably employed at York under our LEAP program. And then we have a number of general work study positions, which are typically more administrative, so supporting our staff in our departments and faculties across campus. So these positions are just for work undergraduate students. They're open to both domestic and international students. And again, there is basically a course load threshold that you must meet to be eligible to participate in the program. So I mentioned the student financial profile earlier. You do need to complete the student financial profile and select the work study program. And all that profile is doing is ensuring that you meet the enrollment threshold. I'm sorry, my dog is barking. Somebody's at our door here. These are all valuable positions. You're going to work again alongside full-time staff and faculty members. The work study program is not onerous. We know that we want you to focus on your studies. So during the fall, winter, the positions are capped at $15 an hour. And of course, they are paid employment opportunities. So lots of opportunities to earn money to supplement whatever you're getting through scholarships and awards and through OSAP. Again, the application process is to complete the student financial profile. For our international applicants, you do have to have a valid study permit, and it does have to contain a condition that allows you to work in Canada. And then the positions themselves are on our career site. So the same place that full-time staff member or faculty members would go to look for employment opportunities is where our students will find their positions. This is a screenshot of our career site, and under affiliations, on the left-hand side, if you select that, you will see work study as one of the options. And when you select that, it will give you a list of the jobs that are available under the work study program. So from that point, it is the same as applying for a job anywhere else. You're going to go create a profile on our career site portal. You're going to upload your resume, your cover letter. You're going to apply directly to the position that is of interest to you, and go through an interview process, etc. The great benefit to it is, of course, if you get a position at York, likely they will keep you on through the duration of your program. So it's sustainable employment, and those positions often convert into full-time summer positions. We do offer work study for the summer, and those positions are up to 34, 35 hours a week in the summer. So again, lots of opportunities. We love to work alongside our students, and you're an important part of the workforce at York University. The last part that I'm going to touch on is really student accounts. What does that look like at York University? How and when would you pay your fees? So York is the same as many organizations. We do not send out any kind of paper invoice any longer. What you will get is an email every month that will alert the student that their student account statement is now available for them to view. All of their financial transactions will be reflected on the student account. So their tuition, any awards they may have received, if you're going into residence, the residence fee, the meal plan, the health plan, all of those things will be reflected on your student account. So when you go into the student account portal, you'll have two views, basically. You'll have a transactions view, which is everything that has occurred on your student account, course adds and drops, etc. And then you'll have the monthly student account statement view. We do not take payments at the university directly, so all of the payments must be made through your financial institution, either by telephone or online banking. York University is the payee, and the 9-digit reference number that you received when you applied to York University will be your York student number, and that is the account number to which you're making the payment. If there are any international students, we do have agreements with CIBC and Western Union for you to that will allow you to make payments through those two portals also directly to the university. So the same thing, York University, the payee, the student number is the account number. The first payment that you're going to make to York would be your $300 registration deposit. So as you go through our UStart program, you will be given guidance on how to enroll in your courses. Once you have begun the enrollment process, you will be required to make a $300 registration deposit within 15 days of the first course that you've added. That registration deposit is not in addition to your tuition amount. It is directly applied towards your tuition amount. And then the next major due date for us would be September 10th. So if you are in residence or housing or have a meal plan, you're going to pay 50% of your housing and meal plans on September 10th. And for your courses, any full year courses, so those are courses that run from September through to April, 50% of the tuition will be due for that. And if you're any fall courses, which are just 4 months, September through to December or January to April, you will pay that at the start of the term. So, students often ask, am I paying my tuition 50-50? It really depends on what you enroll in. If you enroll in more courses in one term versus another, then of course you're going to have more tuition due in that term than in the other term. So for most students, it does work out to more or less 50-50. And you'll see that reflected on the student account statement. So this is just an example of what the student account statement will look like. You can see in the description at the bottom section of this, you will see itemized the things that have been applied to this account. So in this case, the student started out with a balance of about $5,800. You see in August, the student's scholarship was applied to the account, which brought it down. But the student was also billed at that time for the health and dental plans, so that was added. So right now the student's balance is sitting at $35.99. The amount due box is reflecting zero. So the scholarship amount that was applied to the student's account basically covered what the student owed for fall. So the due for that September 10th due date, this student in this example doesn't owe anything. It's already been covered. But you will be looking at these three boxes, the new account balance, the amount due box, and the net amount due box corresponds to the due date. I've mentioned several times about the health and dental plan, so I do want to make you aware that all students who are enrolled on a full-time basis at the university are charged for a health and dental plan. For our domestic students, it is optional. So if you have coverage under an alternate plan, you can opt out of the health and dental plan. So not OHIP, but if you have coverage through a private plan, so if your parents, for example, have coverage under their employer and that extends to you, you can elect to opt out of this plan. And so the deadline date to do that is typically in early October. It's an online opt-out. You would go in, you would indicate the company you're covered under and the policy number, and then that charge will be reversed from the student account. For our international students, it is mandatory, so you will get charged for the health and dental plan, York's plan of $270, and the additional charge for UHIP, which is $756, which will cover you for the 12 months of study. And so this is an annual charge that you will see, so you need to be mindful of that and make sure you opt out of it each year where possible for students who can opt out. So all things related to your finances, whether it's OSAP or whether it's your student account, scholarships, awards, we do have staff here on hand who can assist you with any of your inquiries through our student advising area. The student advising department is located in our Bennett Center for Student Services on the main floor. And you do have the option to come in. You can book an appointment to see somebody in person or via Zoom. They're also answering inquiries via email at rscheck@YorkU. We do ask you to include your name and your York reference number or student number in any inquiries so that we can ensure we're answering your question appropriately. And we do have a call center, 872 York, so you can also call in and speak to any one of our representatives at any time, and we can assist you with that.